Hey guys, it's Nihon Reboot. Now, I promised you guys in one of my other videos that we would actually be looking at my Japanese bookshelf here. Yeah, this is actually more of a 4K test, but I wanted to show you the stuff that I've acquired over the years and what I found personally useful, and what I would maybe recommend for those who are looking to learn Japanese. So, we're going to start off actually with, we're just going to start off at the bottom here. So, I have these kanji flashcards here, and I actually do have a much bigger box of them. So there's 3 boxes total. I didn't bother with the third set, mainly just because, well, I don't know. There comes a point where you learn enough kanji, and I think like between the 2 boxes you get like I think 1200-ish or like close to that. But you get to a stage where you eventually kind of learn enough kanji where you don't really, I wouldn't say continue because I'm still continuing, but yeah, I didn't really find a need for them personally. So how these work is it's very similar to how flashcards are made, but they're pre-made for you, and it shows you the stroke order for the kanji, as well as, well, obviously what it looks like, some words, and then similar looking kanji right here. And when you get to the back, I'm just gonna flip the whole deck around. In the back, it's gonna show like the onyomi and the kunyomi, which is like the Chinese and Japanese way of reading. I really hope this is in focus. As well as a couple of more words. Uh-oh, hold on one second. My dog is coming over here. Hello. Anyways, so yeah, these show the readings of basically these words right here that are written in the Japanese text. So that's what these cards are like. I do recommend at least the first one. I never really finished or really used the second one that much, but there are, in my opinion, better ways to learn kanji nowadays. So overall, they're really good, but for me, I'd rather use what's called wanikani, which I'll go into in another video. So looking along the bottom, we're going to be starting with the bottom shelves because what I've been using primarily to learn my Japanese has been from the bottom shelves. What you doing, mama? He's a good doggy. Okay, so what I initially used to get my foundation for the Japanese language has primarily been the Yokoso books. I have both the first and the second one, and this is where a majority of my Japanese knowledge comes from, grammar-wise. So, they're very similar to the Genki ones, except they're much bigger in size, and I feel like the first book alone covers a majority of what the first 2 Genki books cover, so I feel like these are significantly more in-depth. They are way more expensive than the Genki books, definitely, and they're more suited for a classroom environment, while Genki could be more used for solo learning. But, yeah, overall, like, this is what I personally used and what I really like and would recommend. And also, there are the companion workbooks where you fill out the grammar and, crap, my dog, sorry. If you see me pausing, my dog is like nudging into me constantly. But yeah, that's what the Yokoso books are like. Actually, let's actually open one up so we can look at the insides here. So you can actually see it's very, very simple. You know, you'll have like dialogues, vocab lists, you know, activities, grammar points. Very, very simple. You know, generic textbook. But overall, really good in my opinion. Now, hold on. I'm gonna put this down real fast here. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm gonna hold it. Okay, I can't put this on the shelf with one hand, so I'll just worry about that later. Now, my next book is one that I've been reviewing. So I moved on to this textbook personally right after, and I don't have it on my bookshelf because it's in my backpack. But I really like this one. This is called Tobira. So Tobira, it's basically where you would go to continue with your Japanese after Yokoso, or after you finish Genki, or Mina no Nihongo, or some other ones. Now, this is organized what I like in a better way. There's much less English, so you do have to have a a higher understanding, because instructions and whatnot, and majority of everything, bar grammar points, are explained pretty much in Japanese. So the book is divided into like a reading section first, or per chapter, and then after you finish the reading section, there's like dialogue sections, and then there's like a practice section, and after that you get to the very end, which is so here's the dialogue sections, dialogue, practices, and then you get to the end, which is the grammar section. And what I really like about the book is that they're all grouped together. How Yokoso had it, it was like scattered all throughout the book. I find this to be a much better way of layout, having it grouped into individual sections. But yeah, this is a really, really good one. Between these three, I would say these three alone make up like 90% of what I know. Barring, or with the exception of, say, kanji and vocab, because I actually learned my kanji and vocab from another location. So I primarily use these as grammar books more than anything. But grammar, in my opinion, is the most important part of Japanese. Oh, moving on. So the Tobita book does come with a kanji book and a grammar book as well, if you want to practice further. Now, also I do have right here, these are like JLPT books. So Nihongo so matome and Shinkansen Master, which these are all N3 and N2 books right here. I have a little pile of these. I left the rest of them in Japan because I couldn't bring them back. Too many books overall. I like both of them, though I prefer the Kanzen Master because I feel like it's more in-depth, while the Soul Matome seems a little bit on the easier side and a little bit more vague, but it's more structured in a way that you can basically make a schedule of like a 4-week, 6-week, or 8-week depending on the book, while Shinkansen Master is like you do it on your own pace kind of thing. Next up, we do have these basic kanji books, 1 and 2, which teaches you how to write 500 kanji. And I use these during my time in Tokyo, just so I can kind of keep practicing up. When I only finished my first Yokoso book at the time. I didn't even start the second one. And I got these books at the, it's called Kinokuniya, which is a Japanese bookstore. And overall, I think they're really cool. Like, so it's really, really simple. You get, oh, I actually filled the whole book out. Forgot about that. So you get kanji, you get words, you get the hiragana, and you write the kanji for it, and the answers are somewhere in the book, I forgot where. And then there's also, like these kind of things where it has the kanji, onyomi, kunyomi, whatchamacallit, yeah, and stroke order. So it's a very, very simple, straight up to the point, Japanese book. Alright. I got this back in my high school time, which is just a Japanese picture book, which I thought was really cool. I learned a lot of vocab here initially. So you'll have a room, it's literally all like this. You'll have a picture, and then little numbers, and the numbers have the actual thing. Each section is divided into like occupation, work, food, etc., etc. They're all categorized. There's not really much to say about this book. It's really good, especially if you're younger. I like it. The beginning Japanese books, I actually got these for free, and I never once opened them. Because by the time I got these books, I had actually finished Tobita, which is like an upper intermediate, lower advanced book. So I saw no need to even bother opening them. Over here, I do have some integrated Chinese books, which I haven't really gone too much in depth, and then over there, this drawing book's unrelated. What I'm currently studying from is called this one right here, Chūkyū kara Jōkyū e no Nihongo, which is one of the most advanced books that I could find on the market. And what I like about it, come on camera. What I like about these books is like it's like Tobita on crack. Same structure, but you literally get no English for nothing. English, even the grammar is explained in Japanese. So this is like hardcore, balls deep Japanese, as authentic as it freaking gets. And I really like that because I really feel like, one, it's a confidence booster to know that I can actually get through these points. So it really makes me feel like I'm better than what I actually am, even, but yeah, it's a really good book. And after you finish this, like, I've been trying to find a more complex book because I'm nearing the end of it now. And I'm going to be bringing this one back to Japan. I'm going to be leaving all these others back here because I could always re-get them. And, this is a very small book. But I do recommend this one. If you're in around N2 JLPT level. That's what this is for. Like, you have to be at least N2, in my opinion. If you're N3, this is probably going to curb stomp you, in my personal opinion. So that's pretty much it for the bottom shelf. And moving on to the upper shelf, we have, the next kanji flashcards. Read Real Japanese. Also, if you're like N2-ish level, you might like these as well. So there's 2 books, and how it works is like the right-hand side's like pure Japanese, and then the left-hand side is like bits and pieces of the translation. So there's like 6 or 7 stories in each one, and it gets progressively harder. So some of these stories in here I've even struggled with, and my school actually used these in the class, which really sucked because it killed my interest in these 2 books, because I really enjoyed reading them up until I actually took a class that required me to have them. And since I already had them, I'm like, okay, it'll be easy. But the teaching really ruins everything. So yeah, survival Japanese. It's just a simple pocket, literally survival Japanese basic phrases. Shadowing, how this one works, where's my book at, is you get a CD, you run the CD, and then you listen to the dialogues that are inside here, and you repeat and try to make your pronunciation sound exactly how the CDs sound. And then on the right hand side is the English, Chinese, and Korean translations. There's a Vietnamese version as well of these books, Vietnamese translation, but it's a separate book overall, and since I don't speak Vietnamese, I don't have it. Kanji Learner's Dictionary. Kanji Learner's Dictionary, useless. Don't even bother. It's good to have a physical book, yes. It does its job very well, but at the same time, in today's technology, we have Iniwa for the iPhones, which completely obsoletes this book immediately. And then there's also Android equivalents, which I can't remember the name off the top of my head right now, but it pretty much obsoletes them. Same thing goes for the Oxford Japanese Dictionary, that blue book right here. Completely obsolete. Essential Kanji, maybe obsolete. I don't really know, because this is more like, rather than having this book which just has like literally every freaking kanji, this one has like the most important kanji. So, and it's a smaller book, so you might want to use it. I don't really know. Again, I feel like with the presence of the apps that exist on the App Store and Play Store, it really isn't necessary, in my opinion. Dictionary of Basic Japanese Grammar. I actually have all 3, but the other 2 are in a locker that I have over in Japan, so I have to reacquire those. These 3 books, oh my god, these are like some of the most must-haves. I'd recommend these before I recommend a textbook, honestly. But like literally any possible grammar point you can think of, it's written in one of these 3 books, and then they explain it in super fine detail, give you a myriad of examples. Let's actually look into it right now. I just live in fear that my bookshelf is gonna like fall sideways and then I can't put it back in one-handed. But let's go with this guy right here. So you'll see the grammar point, not good but not an I, is like I have to, must, whatever you want to call it. And then you have sentences with it right here where my pinky is, formations, how it's also another formation, like how it's formed. And this is so far, it's literally 3 pages long of just strictly that, on like that grammar structure, nothing else. And then just look at my pinky, not my index finger. Just trying to hold the book open. So you have a myriad of like grammar points up here, some notes, and similar expressions are always at the end. And this is a long book. Like, this is ridiculously good. I highly recommend this right here, Nihongo Kihon Bunpo Jiten. Yeah. So, moving on. Oh my god. I can't get this book back in like I thought I would. This sucks. Just bear with me, guys. So. Okay. Got it back in. The next ones are the last ones, actually. There are Japanese onomatopoeia, which it's pretty straightforward. It teaches you Japanese onomatopoeia and uses them in a different sets of like sentences so you can get an understanding. Now, onomatopoeia is very, very, very prevalent in Japanese, more so than any other language in the world. It's more used by women than men. So, but nonetheless, it's still important to know, that way you can recognize them. You don't have to use them yourself, but as long as you understand them, that's good. How to sound intelligent in Japanese right here. I haven't really finished this book, let alone started it, but it's just a vocabulary book of just complex terminology. So science, politics, religion, those kind of things is in this book right here. It's just a straight up vocab book. All about particles, kind of useless. It's definitely more useless than the How to Sound Intelligent and then Jazz Up Your Japanese Onomatopoeia. The only real thing that it has, in my personal opinion, is it kind of teaches pretty good the differences between wa and ga, the two particles. But like literally everything else, you kind of can get from other sources really easily. Any textbook pretty much explains all of it. So it's all pretty much obsolete, not obsolete, but like it's not really needed in my opinion. Kansai Japanese, this is a must if you're going to be living in the Kansai region. So it teaches you so many different slang structures, how like how they speak. So like instead of like nai, negative form, hen is what they use instead, or like nande anen, or like chigao becomes chow. Like it's a really good book overall. Like it helps you really understand Kansai speakers, which is really good if you're living again in the Kansai region. I personally like went through this book like 20 times, so it's really good for like I understand Kansai Ben pretty well. I don't need like a translator or like a converter or anything like that. But I personally don't speak Kansai Ben, and I refuse to learn it. I don't want to learn it. I prefer speaking the standard Tokyo textbook one with a little bit of slang added in. That's just my personal preference. Now, my foot's asleep, so I'm going to be going over the last section over here. This is a Love Plus Plus, which is a 3DS game, dating simulator kind of thing. It's a guide for it. It's really good. Has lots of Japanese in it. It's very simple overall, and it helps with the game itself, which I highly recommend for anyone learning Japanese, because the person that you are fixed with, like one of 3 different girls, you get to hear like normal, real world Japanese, and tons of it, like literally every day. So it's really good in my opinion because you just get that native practice, and it's really hard to come across. A Liter of Tears, this is a translated book. It's in English. This is the saddest book in the freaking world. A Liter of Tears is what it's called. Once again, 1 liter of tears. If you want to cry, read it. There's also a Japanese drama, which is even sadder than the book. And this is all based on a real story of a girl, I think in the 80s. She got a disease that slowly causes her to lose the ability to control her body, but like her brain stays 100% intact. So it's kind of like you lose the ability to move, lose the ability to talk, and it's a very, very slow progress. So you're kind of just like being imprisoned in your body, and your brain's like perfectly intact. It doesn't like bring you any like mental retardation. So you're literally just stuck in your body, and you can't move, can't do jack squat until you finally die. So this is the story of a girl who kept a diary during that time, and you can like see as you read through or watch the drama, you see her condition worsen and progress. It's just a super, super freaking sad story. Like, holy crap. I feel so bad for her. Her sister grew up to become a nurse, and her boyfriend also grew up to become a doctor, for the sole purpose of like researching into this condition to find a cure, because obviously this is in the 80s. She didn't make it. It's a very, very sad story, and to this day there's no cure for it. There's also another drama which is like I'm trying to remember what it's called. Boku ni itta jikan or something like that. It's like my time. It's about a guy who also gets not that disease, but a nearly identical one. It's a more recent drama. You can find it on dramafever.com. It's on there, which you can watch for free. So I highly recommend it. A Liter of Tears is much, much harder to find because it's older. But yeah, moving on. These 2 books right here, Kokusai Kekkon no Ki something Chishiki, so the basic knowledge of like international marriage. And then Kokusai Kekkon Handoboku, so the international marriage handbook. Gaikokujin to kekkon shitara, if I married a foreigner. So I got these 2 books. I found them randomly. in a big pile of Japanese books, and I mainly bought them because international marriage, like, or interracial marriage, is actually more what it's about. Is a very common thing in America. You know, we don't really think anything of it. It's not common, or it's not uncommon to see, you know, one race dating another in America or another Western country. We don't really bat an eye to it. But in Japan, where less than 1% of the population is foreign, um, it's a very, very big difference in how they view things. As well as it talks about like hafu and things like that. Hafu are a big phenomena. A lot of women want them because they view them as cuter or as like some kind of prize or something like that. But overall, like, I don't think anything different. Like when I dated a Japanese girl in Japan, to me, I just see it as just dating a normal girl. But in Japan, like I said, because of the whole foreigner, how little they are, it's a very big difference on their end. So I got these books because I wanted to see from their point of view, like, what they think about it. And it goes into, like, not just the view, but it also talks about, like, work, visas, any kind of complications, language barriers. It's a pretty good in-depth book. I don't remember what this one is, so I'm going to skip it. Nihonjin no kokoro to ie, the Japanese heart and home. It talks a lot about, I don't friggin' know, I actually never read it yet. No no ikata, yes no iwase, fuck, my eye itches. Iwase kata. So, gaikokujin to watari ao 80 no zettai hosoku. So, basically, this talks about, like, the book. My dog is just staring, like, right at me. It talks primarily about like the yes-no culture of both, like, America and Japan, and how it kind of different, like how it's different, how they would react, and how you should react in those in their situations. So it's more of like a maybe a business book. I don't really know how to describe it. Kokumin no Rekishi, which is the next one, which is basically like it's literally just like a autobiography of a bunch of really popular Japanese people, like really famous ones from like back in the day. And then we get to my last section right here, which is primarily about linguistics. So learning about languages and like how they functions, second language acquisition, and then the final portion over here is all about Japanese culture. So I have books on like otaku culture, books on like language, gender, ideology, cultural differences, humor, and then I have down here, which I didn't point out earlier, it's like business Japanese books that are like all written strictly in Japanese for Japanese people. But yeah, overall, like this is something that I've acquired over the years. Also teaching English, because I plan to be teaching English down there, and then I have books on drawing because I've been trying to get into that. If you follow my Facebook and Twitter, you can actually see that I'm in the process of designing a mascot for my... Why is my camera not straight? Hold on. There we go. You'll see that I'm in the process of designing my own mascot right now. So you can keep up with that on there. I'm not going to make it into a video. I'm just going to be posting images and asking for opinions there. So, yeah. That's more or less it for my video here. So... yeah, if you do have any questions about any of the books, or if you want to know anything more in depth, just feel free to let me know, and I'll usually comment pretty fast. That being said, don't ask me the questions on YouTube. I've been saying this for the past couple of my videos, but for some God knows what reason, no matter what browser, no matter what computer I use, it will not let me reply like 90% of the time unless I use my mobile phone or my tablet. So, if you want me to respond faster, definitely ask on my Facebook page, which is usually linked in the description, and then my Twitter page, which I'm not there as much, but it's I think it's at Nihon Reboot. I don't know. I'm gonna add it to the description as well, so you can visit there quite often. But yeah, Facebook, definitely the way to go. All right. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, look, my green screen. Have a very nice day, everyone. Bye bye.